march has begun, and we are standing actually on the corner of Constitution and 7th, and it's very interesting, Doug and Father and the whole crew back in Birmingham, the Pintos, to let you know, I think this crowd is already, in terms of my estimation, larger because it took us a good 10 to 15 minutes to walk our way from the mall in 7th just around the corner to 7th and Constitution. It's absolutely packed. It's great. The weather is obviously not cooperating, but you know what? We offer it up because we're here for the cause. And the cause is very international. As you can see, the people going by with the different flags in the different countries. In particular, we have a group here, March for Life Brussels. And one of our fellow American youth has gone over there to help the March for Life. And it's growing across Western Europe and across the continent. And we're going to talk to her about it, introduce some very dynamic young people from France and from Belgium. So it's going to be great to talk to you. Thank you so much, Elizabeth, for hanging with us and walking through the crowd. Tell us about the group.
Well, the group started in 2010. They're a group of young students, Michelle Ducouclari and Anthony here from France and Enchantel. And they saw in different places, especially in the US, that they were doing these marches for life. And they wanted to do that for Europe. And so in 2010, I heard what they were doing and I offered my help. And the first year it was an amazing success. We thought maybe 300 young people would show up, and almost 2,000 came. Different groups came from Germany, from all over. And the most beautiful part is it's the one thing that European students are being able to unite on. So the Germans and the Irish. And
we have to wrap up, but thank you very much. Do you have a website real quick if you want to tell people?
Marchforlife.be. And you can find all the information there. Anthony is with Generation pour la Vie. And
we've got to go to Damon and Dries. If you'd like to hang with me, because I'd like to talk to you, because you've got a real interesting story that I'd like to share with the viewers. We're going to go to Damon. Damon, over to you.
You know, you always wonder, what does it take to coordinate 250,000, 500,000 people for a march like this? We're at the very beginning where, as you can see, the march banner has been unfurled. We've got folks on all sides, and we've got these privileged few that get to hold the banner at the very beginning. We just saw Nelly Gray at the very lead getting into the car because of the weather and all the transportation issues for her. She's as always, leading the march here, but we are literally at the very beginning of the march, and everyone is so excited. We're seeing folks on both sides lined up, and a minute ago there were tens of thousands all in the middle here, but once again the Knights of Columbus and the folks in the March for Life are doing what they do so well for these last 39 years of organizing a huge group of people. So here we are here again at the very beginning, and we're about to kick off the 39th March for Life here in Washington, D.C.
Yes, this is EWTN's continuing live coverage of the 39th Annual March for Life, coming to you live from Washington, D.C. as the crowd is assembling, preparing for the beginning of the march that will take them down Constitution Avenue down to the Supreme Court building. And the word we're getting is that there's actually a larger crowd this year than there has been in past years, and that's quite a nice sign considering the weather has not been that great for the marchers, Father Joseph.
And we're marching. You can see the excited front of the march here with the banners, and even along the sides here you can see the groups that have come to welcome, and it'll take quite a while, if those who've watched here before, quite a while for these folks actually to get in and join the march. There are thousands behind each one of them, and the chanting and the cheering begins as the march is on. We'll get a chance to meet some of these young folks as we move through in the particular groups. But this is the exciting part of the beginning of the march. It's actually a little bit longer of a march this year than it has been in previous years. We got a little bit more room, finally some respect, I believe, for the number of people that have been coming to the march every year. It was a very short march, difficult to do in the short period and short distance they had for us last year with so many people. Once again, we got a lot more room, and we'll see this march progressed all the way up Constitution for quite a bit as we gather more people from the sides. It's also traditional, if you haven't been down here before, people to line in their particular groups along the sides all the way along the march. so you see them fold in as the march passes by and moves through. It's a remarkable sight when you try to get a count or you try to figure out how many people are actually here. You can usually stand in one particular spot and watch the crowd move by to get the greater idea of the number of people that are here. So let's take some of the sights and sounds of the folks here beginning in the march.
And that was Damon Owens, who's out there right at the beginning of the march. You saw Teresa Tomeo, who's also on the ground there moments ago in the studio here with Father Joseph Mary Wolf, our chaplain. And we have our social media center with Michelle Johnson and Jim and Joy Pinto as well, bringing us pro-life facts. And while we watch the beginning of the march get underway and hearing the numbers of the crowd, one of the things that was interesting to point out to people is that there is in fact that web address that we had up earlier that was called basically to end Roe v. Wade, and it's I think it's endroe.net is actually what it is. And our friends at the USCCB had actually asked us to make sure if we were willing to put that up there, and certainly we were more than happy to do that if you can go to that website and support the end of Roe v. Wade. Also, as the numbers are marching, as we can see, Father, starting things off, one of the things that was interesting too was just to reinforce the pro-life principles that that Nelly Gray talks about, with the whole idea of, you know, no exceptions. You know, the March for Life is the collective effort of grassroots pro-life Americans to assure that our state and federal law shall protect the right to life of each human in existence and fertilization. And that's really what it's all about. And the key words in there, really, in a lot of ways, we hear these terms these days, is grassroots, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, no exceptions, because when you think about the tragic situations that sometimes a woman experiences, rape or incest, it's a tragic, terrible crime that's committed, but it only worsens it through abortion. And so if a woman accepts that child and nurtures that child, somehow it redeems the evil that was done by something that's good, turning it into an act of love.
Right, and also I think one of the things that is important to note is that you know, you hear a lot about sort of about the election this year, and sometimes people say, well, you're just presenting this particular position. And of course, we're not presenting a political position. We're basically covering an event, but we're also presenting a life position which transcends any political party.
Right, the church's role is not to promote any political party, but to critique different things that are going on in culture or society or in politics. And so our role is to be there to speak on the behalf of life and defense of life and family, which the church has always stood for.
Right, and just before we go back to Teresa, who's got an interview there at the site, just to mention, you can see the weather's also playing a little trouble with our one remote camera that we're using to get the beginning of the march, and so we apologize for that, but that's what happens with the weather. Now we're going to go out to Teresa Tomeo, who's at the March for Life, in fact, in the middle of it. Teresa.
Yeah, here we come, here we come, here we come. Well, we're back here along Constitution Avenue. As you can see, the crowd is moving slowly up toward the Supreme Court. And I'm with a young man. His name is Tracy. He's from Belgium. And you have a very interesting story in terms of your work with March for Life Brussels, correct?
Yes, I got to know the March for Life. And this is how, for me, it started all. The pro-life micro went all through me. And Our Lady, she put me right there. This is where it's a very long story, not to tell in 3 minutes. And then we got started because we knew we have a lot of work. So being here for me is a very big inspiration, because this was not as big as it is now. We are 2,000 people the first year, 3,000 people the second year. So we are growing in Europe, Brussels, the capital of Europe. So we are becoming bigger. This is a huge inspiration for us today.
How did you get involved in the pro-life movement yourself? Because aren't you a wrestler? You're a wrestler, right? You're an athlete.
I used to be in judo and boxing, indeed, yes. It's a very long story. Our Lady, she put me right in there. I met at one weekend, very short, I met a boy who should have been aborted by doctors. He was a very healthy boy. I met a girl who had an abortion. She was traumatized. I asked that girl, what is the name of your son? She said it's Wuerl. I went to a weekend. There was a postcard there. It's a very not common name, Wuerl. A postcard came there. It was Wuerl. I held a child in the same weekend, a child which should have been aborted, but it was too late. I could even give her a bottle at the same weekend. I drove a boy home he was the brother of Michel de Keukelaar, who was starting the March for Life. So Our Lady, she pointed me, okay, you will. I never heard of abortion. I was a young man. So Our Lady said, okay, you will do anti-abortion, pro-life work, and you'll do it, and you start with Michel to do it. That was very clear, I think.
So coming here, obviously, you take this excitement home with you when you go back to Brussels?
Absolutely. It's a hope. I mean, it's possible. It's because it's grace. We are starting to do little things in Europe. For instance, we have rosary rallies that we do in Belgium, which is a very lukewarm country, very liberal, but yet Elizabeth told me, do the rosary rallies. I said to her, how will people join a mean man like me doing rosaries? No, Our Lady will take care of that, and she did. We have 3 rosary rallies in 3 cities every first Saturday, because we say we don't need volunteers for pro-life, we need volunteers who consecrate to the Immaculate Heart for pro-life. So we do the first Saturday, we go to Mass together, people go to confession, people go to adoration. Then we go outside and we pray, because we're not ashamed of our faith. And we go and bring reparation, because Christ, he was crucified in public. So our reparation, it will also be in public. We have 3 cities in Belgium and Flanders who started doing that at the same time with young people. I even had a lady from the Netherlands saying, oh, that is cool what you're doing. Can I do it too? Okay, go ahead. And so it's growing. It's called St. Nicholas Movement. But because St. Nicholas,
quick, because we're running out of time, Teresa.
He's very popular in Belgium, but it's actually the apostolate of helpers of God's precious infants, which we are doing exactly in Belgium.
States,
it's beautiful.
Yeah. Well, God bless you. Thank you for walking with us. And you need to put your coat back on, young man. You're going to get a cold.
I'm so hot with enthusiasm of all these people coming here.
And the march is about to start. Let's point back to there were some Knights of Columbus that were walking in front of us, but Doug and Father and the Pintos, if you can see, the march, you're at the very beginning of a Christendom College is actually starting it out, and you've got Nelly Gray and the police cars moving forward. And some of the people went ahead of us, but let's take a shot of this and let you see the march beginning, 2012 March for Life here in D.C.
God bless America.
God bless America. Amen.
Inspiration for Europe. Thank you very much.
Thank you. The march moving along Constitution Avenue.
We can hear Teresa there in the background as she finished that international interview. Exactly, Father Joseph, what we've been talking about, the whole concept of if we show what's really happening here, not only do people come to these events here in the United States and in other cities throughout the United States, they keep growing, but it's growing internationally.
It's very encouraging to see that it's taking off in other countries now as well, and that's going to have an impact there as well.
Right. And one of the other things we wanted to talk a little bit about was kind of interesting. You know, there's a lot of politicians up and people speaking, and so to be fair to all parties, we wanted to make note of, I guess, the official statement that came out from the White House, from the President's office, indicating that as we mark the 39th anniversary of Roe v. Wade, we must remember that this Supreme Court decision not only protects a woman's health and reproductive freedom, but also affirms a broader principle that government should not intrude on private family matters. And I thought, obviously, it's a pro-choice statement, but that's kind of interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, because now we're intruding on conscience. That's what government is attempting to do, to take away our conscience, our freedom of conscience.
With that law that Archbishop Dolan was talking about, right?
Exactly.
Right. And also, just to cut to the end, I thought it was interesting too. It says, I remain committed to protecting a woman's right to choose and this fundamental constitutional right. And at the end indicates we must also continue our efforts to ensure that our daughters have the same rights, freedoms, and opportunity as our sons to fulfill their dreams. So apparently that's central to people fulfilling their dreams.
Well, you think that this was brought about to solve all of these sociological problems with unintended pregnancies, single motherhood, poverty, and all of these things. And what have we seen? We've only seen these things escalate. Why? Because it's teaching men to be irresponsible.
Right.
So I have no responsibility over the child that may be conceived. You know, it's your problem.
Right, exactly, exactly. I think we might be able to actually get a chance to talk to Nelly out there at the site with Teresa, and while we try to set that up, again, we wanted to mention this is EWTN's live coverage of the 39th Annual March for Life, coming to you live from Washington, D.C. with our exclusive coverage. You can watch us on our internet feeds, live streaming, and of course EWTN Radio. You can email us at marchforlife@ewtn.com. We'll go later to our social media center to see what people are talking about on Facebook and what's on Twitter. And we all have all that happening, EWTN.com. Go there. There's all information on our pro-life link as well. And while we wait for Teresa, I wanted to throw it to Jim and Joy Pinto, who really have been dealing with this whole issue of pro-life and pro-woman all along. Jim and Joy.
Well, just looking at the mass of people marching for life, it just struck me that this is really unprecedented. Year after year after year, hundreds of thousands and likely 200 to 250 million, people gathered together on behalf of life. It's absolutely extraordinary. Kick it back to Doug. All right.
We're going to take it back here, Jim. I'm sorry, but you know the window of opportunity with Nelly Gray is closing rapidly, so we want to go to Teresa at the site to talk to Nelly if she can catch up with her car. I think, unfortunately, we're getting a live reality TV picture of Teresa there going up to Nelly's car. You were seeing it as it happens. Let's see if, in fact, Nelly will grant us the opportunity to have a conversation with her. There we are.
For all you do, and we just wanted to ask you a few questions. So you think, it looks to me it's a little larger than last year even. What do you think?
There's any doubt that it's so large, and we'll be able to say that the pro-life movement is indeed here, and that we are organized, and look at the people, the numbers that come out, which means our dedication is to save the babies even with the rain.
Nelly, in terms of what happened on Friday with Catherine Sebelius, where do we go from here, do you think? No? With contraception, yeah.
With contraception now, we're trying to take care of the surgical abortions, but we don't even know how many babies are killed by chemicals. We'll start working on that also to help.
Thanks, Nelly. God bless you. See you next year. That's Nelly Gray, of course, the organizer of the March for Life, and we are at the very front of the march, as you mentioned earlier, Doug, the Knights of Columbus leading the way, along with Christendom College and many other young people. Back to you in the studio.
Thank you so much, Teresa. That's terrific. There we saw a live action television. Our woman on the street right there.
Dedication.
Teresa Tomeo. She doesn't let a story get away from her, that's for sure. And you can see the multitudinous crowds marching, as we can see right now on our screen. And you noted some of the various banners we've been seeing and stuff like that.
It's great to see these the different schools that are there. Christendom College, that was already mentioned. Franciscan U of Steubenville, we saw their banner. Mount St. Mary's Seminary, Catholic.
Close to your heart, right?
Yes.
Not that you're seminary, but our guys go there, right?
Catholic Campus Ministry from George Mason University. So good to see all of these college students out there.
And it's great for us to be able to show and see all of the people who are there, and we'll have more man-on-the-street interviews as we go along. Unfortunately, we're having some technical difficulties with one of our camera setups, which is kind of limiting us right now. But speaking of being limited, we kind of cut Jim Pinto short, so I'm going to throw it back to Jim and Joy.
Okay, well, it's been so wonderful to see that sea of humanity where the students and old people, young and like, old and young, rich and poor, Catholics, Protestant, are coming out to say that truth longs to reveal itself. We know the truth, no matter what the White House thinks about the truth, no matter what the Supreme Court thinks about the truth. We believe as a society and a people of life that we need to bring our bodies to the streets and to say, we want to change. This has to change. And with seeing the young people out there saying, you need to be afraid that we're out there in great number and in great witness to bring a witness to the gospel of life and to so many women who are hurting from abortion.
Yeah, it really is unprecedented. Year after year after year. It started in 1974 with 20,000 gathering or so. Since 1993 or so, maybe a little bit later, it's been 200,000, 250,000. And I don't think there's ever been anything in American history that has been such consistency of so many people coming together. Why are they there? I mean, these are people that are responding to the cry of the helpless. It's a basic human thing to respond to those who are hurting. And that's what these young people are doing. That's what these people gathered for this march are there for. They're responding to the cry of the helpless. The Word of God says if we close our ears to the cry of the helpless, we ourselves will cry out and not be heard. It's so important for young people in particular to have something to do. Because when we speak about abortion, we're really speaking about the killing. They don't just die, but they're being killed, dismembered and decapitated, little babies. We've got to give young people something to do to combat this, to fight this. And they're doing that lovingly and peaceably, taking to the streets and saying, stop the killing, we must have a new culture of life. Back to you, Doug.
Thanks, Jim. That's great. And I think the accent too, Father Joseph, that Jim brought up, the whole peaceable aspect of it, for all the way it's portrayed. You see here that this is an incredible grouping of people in these large numbers from disparate parts of the country, different people, all economic classes, all backgrounds getting together. And it's totally nonviolent.
Well, you think about, if you were an employer, would you want a person of faith who believed in God, who believed in charity toward others? Would you want that kind of employee who believed in being responsible? Or would you want an employee who didn't care anything about that? And that's what this group brings together. People who have these same moral convictions, who want to live the gospel of Jesus Christ.
And it's quite exciting for us to see, and is reinforcing in what we're doing. And let's just take a moment to take in. We can bring up the sound, because we really want people to feel like they're part of the march, in the midst of the march. And in a minute or so, we have a special interview we were able to get with Archbishop Cardinal Designate Dolan. But let's take this in for a minute. And there you can see the sights and sounds of the beginning of the march as they head down Constitution Avenue towards the Supreme Court building. And while we have this moment, we were able to grab an interview with Teresa Tomeo was able to do with Archbishop Dolan, Designate Cardinal of Archdiocese of New York. So let's take a listen to that interview and a look at that interview while we take in the sights and sounds of the march.
We're with Archbishop Timothy. Okay, we're with Archbishop Dolan and Cardinal Designate Dolan. Congratulations, by the way. I think you'll look good in the little red cap and the big.
Apparently, the Holy Father knows too.
Thanks be to God. We're glad to have you working with us. Now, you put out a very powerful statement, Archbishop, on Friday after the decision came down from the Health and Human Services. Where do we go from here, do you think?
Thank you for saying it was strong. It was timely. I felt like using words that I can't in public because I was very disappointed and very alarmed. Where do we go? Thanks be to God, we got some unity now within the Catholic ranks. Everybody seems to have come around us. People of other faiths or no faith at all. When you got the Washington Post behind you, you know something is wrong. So the president has made a drastic mistake, and I'm not just talking as a pastor. I'm really concerned as a pastor because we're being asked to violate our conscience, which we can't do. I'm worried about an American citizen who believes strongly in the Constitution and who knows that this is just a terribly unscrupulous intrusion into the integrity of the life of the Church, and it's not going to stand. It just can't.
Where do you think the battle will be? In the courts? Will we have to be drawing the line in the sand with closing down facilities? What do you think? Well, I mean, we can't accept this. I mean,
we can't accept it. There's no doubt about it. As I said to the president, you're giving us a year to violate our conscience, and we can't. I can tell you right now, we can't do it. We don't need a year. What are we going to do? I don't know. We do have very sane, very scholarly, very prudential, very wise people who are advising us. Should we do this judicially? Should we go through the legislature? What should we do? Right now, I don't know. Right now, I do know we got to be prophetic. We got to be catechetical in this, in continuing to speak for, with, and to our people about the urgency of this issue. Strategically, where we'll go, I don't know. I'll keep you posted.
In many ways, this could be a Romans 8:28 situation where it could really bring people to a better understanding because they're forced to discuss it even more in the public square.
When you've got people who are usually not on our side, and I mentioned the Washington Post, even when you've got some Catholics who might go to the other side, side of the spectrum on this issue who are with us. You've got a rare moment of unity who are saying we Catholics might disagree on a lot of things. What we do agree on is that the government has no right butting into the internal governance of our church. There's a unanimity there, and we want to capitalize on that. And we got people who aren't Catholic. Well, you saw, I was just up there on the podium with Orthodox, with Greek Orthodox, Russian Orthodox, Armenian Orthodox, Orthodox Jews, evangelical people who are all saying we're with you all the way, stand strong, and don't let this happen.
Yeah. Let me ask you one more question. I know you have to go, and I appreciate your time. In terms of, the Holy Father, what he said last week with the ad limina.
That's the other thing. You talk about bad timing. The day before this dreadful decision, the Holy Father gave a ring.
I think it was bad timing. I think it was a direct shot across the bow to the Catholic Church. What do you think?
It could have been, but you talk about a ringing affirmation. That talk that the Holy Father gave to my brother bishops in Rome last Thursday could be given in any civics class in the United States on how America has been a beacon of protecting religious freedom and the rights of conscience. And to think that now that's being questioned by the administration, sad day. Thanks, Teresa.
God bless you. Good to see you again.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Your Grace.
God bless all our listeners.
Thanks.
Wish they could be here. Isn't this
well, they're with us in spirit. Thank you. That's Archbishop Timothy Dolan from the Archdiocese of New York. Of course, also Cardinal Designate Timothy Dolan, speaking about what happened on Friday with the Department of Health and Human Services. Back to you in the studio.
That's great, Teresa. Thanks you so much for corralling that interview a little bit earlier today while the rally was going on. We wanted to make sure we kept it on the stage and so you could hear everybody speaking, but we didn't want to miss that opportunity, Father, to basically get that interview. And you can see, as we can see from our vantage point, a large crowd. And again, we've heard from several of our people there in the field, including our production manager, John Kuklinski, basically, who handles all our field productions along with our crew, that this looks like a much larger crowd than even past years.
Yes, it's good to see that. And Archbishop Dolan, I'm glad he's on our side.
Right,
How
no
he said we're not sure how we're going to respond, but we know we will respond, and we're just looking for the appropriate way to do that.
Well, I think that's so important, and I think it's really important that our shepherds be our shepherds,
yes,
and that people can look to them and count on them to show leadership.
And there are many who have said this morning as well that this could be a very good moment for us to, as Catholics, to be strong in our faith, to really understand our faith, embrace it, and live it to the full.
Right, and you can see all the banners in different groups that are marching here from all over the United States, all over the country, and even internationally there, as we see the pictures come up there. It looks like Huskers for Life are there. And just to remind you, this is the EWTN's complete coverage of the 39th Annual March for Life live from Washington, D.C. Is that Holy Apostles? I'm not sure.
There's
Is that
Holy
the seminary?
Apostles College and Seminary,
Okay.
Cromwell, Connecticut.
Great. And also just remind people they can follow us streaming on the web. You can listen on EWTN Radio. You can get in touch with us through Facebook, through Twitter. And again, you can email us at marchforlife@ewtn.com. and check out our website, www.ewtnreligiouscatalog.com. I wanted to mention that one too because we have a ton of resources on our website for free, but we also have a whole lot of great books on our EWTN Religious Catalog website, which you can check out as well by going through our EWTN website. And now we're going to go out to Teresa, who is in the midst of it all, and I think she's talking to people from the Archdiocese of Detroit.
We are with Kimberly DeSale and the Champions of Life from my home Archdiocese, the Archdiocese of Detroit. So let's say hi to Archbishop Vigneron. And Kimberly, you've got quite a contingency here. It's so great to see you in person with all of our peeps from Michigan. Tell us about the group you brought today.
Well, we've got 5 buses from the Archdiocese of Detroit. We're from Everest Collegiate. We've got Brother Rice, Notre Dame Prep, Divine Child, St. Francis Cabrini, the homeschool community, OU, Oakland University, St. Mary's Prep.
It's been one of the largest groups for the Detroit area so far?
It's been one of the largest, yes.
And in terms of the enthusiasm, I think you guys are pretty enthusiastic. Let me ask you why you're here today, what it means to you. What's your name, young man?
My name is Chris Bradley.
Nice to meet you.
Hi, I am here because I want to see babies.
Amen.
Yeah! Yeah!
And how about you? How about you? What's your name and where are you from?
I'm Leah. I'm from Detroit, and I'm here to raise awareness about abortion and save babies.
Wow. Brother, can you come over here? I want to talk to you. Give us your name and what school you're from.
I'm Brother Joshua Thompson. Legionary of Christ. I work at Everest Academy.
I spoke at there a couple months ago, actually. Great group of people. Let's talk a little bit about your commitment to the pro-life movement in the school at Everest and what you're doing there.
Yes, well, I mean, I'm here supporting, I came with the group to Washington, D.C., and we're here supporting life.
Is this your first time here?
It's my second time.
What do you think?
It's a wonderful experience of the church, especially to see everybody so united around this issue, and I think it's a great support for the bishops, especially.
Now, you don't look too much older than some of these young people here, but it is great to be with so many young people, isn't it?
Yeah, it rejuvenates me, and I feel younger now, too.
Great. Thank you very much. Well, very proud of my home archdiocese, the Archdiocese of Detroit, and our shepherd, Archbishop Alan Vigneron. We love you. Thank you for all your pro-life work. And let's say, hi, Motown. Back to you, Doug.
Very good. Thanks, Teresa. Never thought of Motown in that context from a pro-life perspective, but I guess why not, right, Father?
It was great to see those young, enthusiastic young people.
Right, yeah. Exactly. Now, one of the things that we were talking about, because we were having some trouble with one of our cameras, and we got a computer here in the studio that's having some difficulties. And I always think of Bishop Sheeney used to talk about all the problems that would somehow show up when he was trying to tape his programs and things like that. And I know I was asking you just a few minutes ago to pray, and of course you have your book.
Yes, and we just continue to press forward. Prayer is always the answer.
Right, we have to mention that once in a while. That's our book that you can get as a donation through EWTN. You go to our website and check it out, and go to our donation page and just indicate that you're interested in getting a copy of it. That'd be great.
It's one way that I felt we could be together and be united together in prayer each day for these important intentions. And there are pro-life intentions there. There's prayers for purity, for modesty, for women considering abortion.
Right, exactly. And I think there's nothing better for us to reinforce. I think from a media perspective, it's our job to show the pictures and make sure people have a voice. At the same time, it's really important for us as Catholics to keep reinforcing that prayerful part of the equation, whether it's for the pro-life movement or it's for the evangelization of the world.
That's the foundation, really, and I often like to put it as the nuns here at EWTN are the heart, and then here is the voice. So we are proclaiming the gospel where the sisters are that heart of love for the Lord, praying and interceding for our viewers, for the network, for the success of this mission.
Right, and very well put. And I'm hearing now that I think we have an interview as well queued up that Teresa did with Cardinal Wuerl, from who we saw earlier today from the Verizon Center. And here he was at the march, and Teresa was able to catch up with him and talk to Cardinal Wuerl from Washington, D.C. about a couple of things. Let's take a look at that interview. Teresa.
We're with Cardinal Wuerl, of course, from the Archdiocese of Washington, D.C., and so good to be with you, Your Eminence. Thank you so much. And it must make you feel good to see such a large turnout here in your home area.
It is so exciting, but it's also a sign for the future, isn't it? Every year we have more and more people who come to say abortion is wrong. And so many of these are young people. They're the next generation. The pro-life movement just keeps growing, and its voice is being heard. We have so much to look forward to, but right now we just have to keep at it. We have to persevere, and we have to be confident in our message. God is with us.
He is indeed, and we are. There's so many people that are together on the platform that are not Catholic. So this is a very universal cause, isn't it?
Well, I think what we're seeing is more and more people across the board are saying it's just not right not to give a child a chance to live. More and more people, Catholic, Protestant, Jewish, everybody, people who profess no particular faith are saying, life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness, isn't that what we're all about? Why would we kill an unborn child? And it's good to hear people say that, to question that. Someday there's going to be enough of a groundswell that Roe v. Wade will just disappear.
Let's talk about what happened on Friday with the HHS, Department of Health and Human Services, ironically coming out just 2 days after our Holy Father's beautiful message, the ad limina message that he gave to the U.S. bishops. Your thoughts on that? I just interviewed Cardinal Dolan, and at this point I know the Church is just trying to gather itself and figure out what can be done at this point, but what are your thoughts and prayers as we look at that?
First of all, I was there for that message from our Holy Father, and he points out the voice of life, the voice of freedom, the voice of conscience, the voice of faith that has always been a part of our history in this country. The United States is a pluralistic society. There's no one secular norm that has the power to wipe out everybody else's voice. And that's what this HHS regulation is all about. It's saying there's only this voice. There's only a secular culture, and the rest of you have to find some other place to be if you want to be a part of America. And we're saying the voice of faith, conscientious objection, freedom, that's who we are as America. History is on our side. This is an aberration. This HHS regulation is an aberration.
Your Eminence, thank you so much.
You're
God bless
welcome.
you.
God
really
bless
appreciate
you.
your work, and stay strong, and we pray for you and pray for us.
Thank
I'm
you.
sorry about the umbrella. Thanks so much. God bless you. Take care.
Okay.
Of course, I had a very, very interesting conversation with His Eminence Cardinal Wuerl from Washington, D.C., of course working very hard with Cardinal Designate Timothy Dolan regarding the whole health and human services issue. Back to you, Doug.
Thanks, Teresa. That's great. And we thank Cardinal Wuerl for taking the time to speak with us. And as you can see from those images, Father, at least earlier in the day when that interview was done, during the actual stage rally was going on, it was actually raining. Now I'm not sure out there. I know the weather is not good. It's obviously cold and damp, but it has not seemed to dampen the spirits of the marchers.
Well, we're for the cause of life, and so there are some things we're sacrificing for the sake of defending life, and life is definitely one of those things that people are willing to make many sacrifices to be part of this.
Right, and you can see we have a large crowd there. I can't really see all the different banners, and hopefully our people at home can see them and recognize some of their hometown folks, maybe to congratulate them for having seen them, and maybe pat them on the back when you see them, or maybe think about the next time that maybe you should be in the middle of that crowd. Then again, we hope that maybe this march won't have to happen in the near future.
You know, it's interesting too, a couple of the speakers talked about how, of course, this march is about abortion, but that it's all about all of the life issues. And you think about how this is something also we've been involved in to help raise the awareness of the needy. We've had recently the Mary's Meal people on who distribute 500,000 meals to orphans. So it's not just that we care for the unborn, of course we do, but for life in all of its stages.
Right, exactly, and that's a very, very important part of the message. Going back out to the midst of the march with Teresa, with some high schoolers from the Diocese of Nashville. Teresa.
Who starts it?
Okay, we are here live with a group from Nashville, the Diocese of Nashville, the Catholic Youth Office, and give us your name and tell us about the group here.
Hi, my name is Bill Staley. I'm with the Diocese of Nashville Catholic Youth Office and Pope John Paul II High School, and we've got 111 students and chaperones out here marching today, and we're just supporting the sanctity of life.
Now, has this been a whole pilgrimage for you? When did you come? Did you do a red-eye overnight, or what was it like for you? Just describe your trip here.
We had about a 13-hour drive up from Nashville. We got in Saturday night. We spent the day yesterday at the Basilica, touring the USCCB office, and then we went over to a concert by Tony Melendez last night at St. Martin's Parish.
What's it been like for the young people here? All seem very enthusiastic and happy to be here despite the cold weather?
Yes. Yes. I think it's phenomenal that so many young people in our diocese care about the babies, care about promoting the sanctity of life, and coming out here in the cold, rainy weather, 13-hour drive, and they had to miss a day of school.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But we're just so proud of them and couldn't be more blessed to have the support in our diocese.
Well, Nashville's a great diocese. I was there actually. Your bishop is wonderful, and you have great women's conferences and men's conferences, so keep up the great work. Awesome. Thanks, you guys. God bless you. Diocese of Nashville. Diocese of Nashville, and we are along Constitution Avenue, and just about to, really it's still just beginning. As I said, Doug, it looks like it's even larger than last year. So we're going to go back to the young people, let you listen to their chants a little bit, and then we'll be back to you in the studio.
Very good. Thank you, Teresa, and that's great. We'll have to order some more water or something to keep us going here. And now we are happy to hear that maybe our prayers worked, and we go to Damon Owens with a group there at the march.
This great group here from Downingtown, Pennsylvania here, St. Joe's Youth Group. You all here? You you watch these great groups coming back forth here, you say, who are the screaming groups? You want to get on television? They said, yes! What's your name?
Katie Castells.
Katie, and is this your first march?
Yes, yes it is.
And what do you think so far? A few people are here, right?
Yeah, I think it's crazy there's so many people here.
Is this what you expected when you thought you were coming down to the March for Life?
Yeah, I expected a lot of people, but there's insane amounts.
That's great. And what is your name?
Kellyanne Tandrich.
Kellyanne. And Kellyanne, is this your first march?
This is actually my third.
Your third march. You're like a veteran. Good. And what do you think about this year, even with the cold and the rain? You still showed up.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah. Have you seen anything interesting, either on the trip down or since you've been here? Anything you can share with all the EWTN viewers that you've seen?
No.
Just a lot of people?
Yeah, a lot of people.
Oh, that's great. You're here with a whole bunch of your friends. That's great. And what is your name?
I'm Hannah Motel.
Hannah. And is this your first march?
This is probably my third march.
It's your third march. Okay. And tell me a little bit about what you've seen so far and what's it been like with the group that you brought down here from Downingtown, yeah?
Yeah, this is amazing. We got to go to the Basilica and have Mass there, and we're just having a great time here. Getting wet, but it's fun.
That's great. Fantastic. So you can see we plucked them right out of the march here, and they're from Downingtown, Pennsylvania. They're going to join because this march is still going on. It's going to be going on for quite a bit. So glad you're all here. Yeah. All right. Back to you, Doug.
All right, great, Damon. It's great to have you back. Thank you so much. And speaking of all those young people being there, as we saw Father Joseph, it always reminds me of social media. We have our own little EWTN Social Media for Life Center being manned by our own Michelle Johnson. Michelle, you want to bring us up to date on our Facebook and Twitter?
Absolutely, Doug. Twitter is absolutely going crazy, and as people who really use Twitter know, it is very often used to change social mores. We have a Kathy Seiger who went on the site to say, hey everybody, go onto the Washington Post site, look for the March for Life piece by Danielle Bean. It's a good piece, but apparently there are only negative comments being posted about the March for Life. So pro-lifers, get out there, get on that site and start to post. The USCCB has some live tweets coming in, and Representative Chris Smith says, Mr. President, killing babies is not an American value. Now there's a pointed tweet. The American Papist, Thomas Peters, says, very popular blogger, today is National Media Ignores the March for Life Day. And along those lines, we've got another man named Badger Catholic, is his handle, who says, and you got to think about this because this is a joke, while the March for Life must have been made up of 250,000 ninjas, they all slipped past the attention of the media. Amazing. Back to you, Doug.
They're very interesting, very well put, especially for children who watch a lot of television programs that originate in Japan that feature people like the ninjas who are basically non-detectable, like, you know. Anyway, it's great to see that we're getting some traffic on Twitter and our Facebook page. And again, we always like to make the case, EWTN everywhere. We're trying to make ourselves available everywhere on mobile devices. You can go to our website and find out how you can watch this event and all events and all programming from EWTN on your mobile devices, and how important that is going forward with dealing with especially young people. And speaking of young people making a difference, we have Teresa Tomeo. Not that she's the young person, but she still is, but I think she's with Lila Rose. That's the one I meant. Teresa.
Thanks, Doug. I'm still young. I'm 52 years young, so I think that's still young. But the very young person here who's made a huge difference, as you said, and you were talking about the social media and the new media. Lila Rose, God bless this young girl who's a convert to the faith in the church for 2.5 years. And Lila, you've been on my radio program on Catholic Connection on EWTN many times, and I do attribute Planned Parenthood being under the microscope so much to the work that you've done at Live Action. Tell us how this whole thing started for you, really, with Live Action.
Sure. Well, I started up Live Action when I was 15, and just with a group of other young people in my hometown to say, how are we going to reach our generation with the truth about life and about abortion? And we wanted to use visual media from the get-go, using multimedia presentations, and that expanded into doing undercover investigative work of the abortion industry and creating a social media movement online.
Do you think it's getting out there more in the secular world? I mean, there is, I think, more pressure and more stories being done about Planned Parenthood.
definitely. We're seeing amazing strides and successes in the pro-life movement, especially in exposing Planned Parenthood. Last year, after we released our trafficking undercover videos showing Planned Parenthood covering up the aiding and abetting of child sexual abuse and trafficking, and we've been releasing these videos for 4 years, but we finally had amazing traction in 2011. We saw CBS Nightly News playing the videos. We saw amazing mainstream coverage. We saw $60 million pulled from Planned Parenthood, tax dollars that were defunded from Planned Parenthood. So we actually saw some real political repercussions because of the exposés and the truth coming out, and we're going to see even more, I believe, in 2012 and beyond.
Now, being a convert to the faith, you now can avail yourself regularly to the sacraments. How important is that to you and the work that you do? Because you're obviously, all of us in the pro-life movement are always under attack, but what does it mean to you as a Catholic to do this work?
It's absolutely the lifeblood of my life and of the pro-life work, prayer and the sacraments. And I count it a great gift every day to get to receive Holy Communion, to get to be part of, to receive the Eucharist, to get to be part of the prayer traditions of our church. Having the Rosary is such a gift. St. Michael and the Archangel of America, calling on them to help St. Michael, and St. Joan of Arc, she's my confirmation saint. So there's so many wonderful saints and blessed to assist our work that we can call upon, and to be closer in intimacy with our Lord Jesus Christ through the Eucharist, through the sacraments, is such a great gift. So I'm the happiest Catholic.
Well, we think you're amazing. So God bless you for your work, and we're glad you're home in Rome, and keep up the good work. We'll be praying for you. Thanks.
God bless.
You too. Lila Rose from Live Action, one of the most dynamic young people out there in the pro-life movement. Doug, back to you.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Teresa, and I apologize profusely for if I misspoke, which I did misspeak, of course. And just to remind everybody with the work that Lila Rose does, etc., that one of the things we want to mention is the www.endroe.net website. You can go and register directly, so as part of the petition to end Roe v. Wade. Father, some thoughts?
I was thinking about when I was in the seminary at St. Charles in Philadelphia. One of my classmates was a man by the name of Stephen Lesniewski, and he would always go to the abortion place to do sidewalk counseling, and he actually had a photo album of babies that he had helped to save through his sidewalk counseling, and he kept in touch with them. Well, I was happy to see in the Register, EWTN's paper now, they had an article about a 15-minute film that he had put together in Chicago called To Be Born. And what he relates is a letter that was written to him that shows a child speaking to the mother about why that child wants to live. It's very moving.
Right. Oh, great. Okay, and as you mentioned it, while we're seeing the wonderful sights of the march, just to remind people, with that reference to the Register, that obviously it's a paper EWTN now owns, and it's available, and obviously you can go to our website and find out how you'd like to subscribe if you want to get good Catholic reading into your home. And you can also go to their wonderful website, which is NCREGISTER, basically ncregister.com, and that's the Register's website. You can go there and see every day there's material there worth your time. And now we'd like to get back out to the march and to Damon. Damon.
Hi, I want to introduce some friends I've made here from Minnesota. What is your name?
Nikki.
Nikki and?
Regina.
And you guys had quite a bus ride here from
Minnesota.
Minnesota. How long was your ride?
About 24 hours, and then we'll stay for 48 hours, and then we get to drive 24 hours back after.
Yo, but you're here, and you knew it was happening, and you did it anyway, and are you glad you made it?
So glad. We are just having the best time, and we know we're doing it for a great cause, so.
That's wonderful. Now, first time marchers, second time, third time?
First time. Yeah.
First time?
First time, yep.
Oh, this is fantastic. So first time, 24 hours in a bus, 48 hours here, 24 hours back, and you're still smiling in the cold and the rain.
Of course, yes.
Well, that just speaks volumes, doesn't it?
Yes, it definitely does. It's been a great opportunity. I've learned a lot, so.
Good. Now, just quickly, what brought you to come to do that, to come to the march, to be part of now you're part of a larger group, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, we are. It's a college group from St. Benedict's and St. John's in St. Cloud, Minnesota.
And do you have a campus group that is pro-life, or you just kind of said, hey, we're having a bus, who wants to come on down to Washington, D.C.?
Yep, they're called Students for Life. That's at St. Cloud, St. Ben's, and St. John's.
Boy, they're going to be mad they split from you, and you got to be on EWTN, aren't they?
Yes, they will.
So what do you think so far you'll be able to tell people that you've seen in the march and why it was worth coming? When people say, you went where, for what, in what weather?
We've learned a lot so far, and we're really just trying to spread the word to the rest of our community and the rest of the world, just all around, to really say really what's going on and spread the information about it.
That's wonderful. So as you're going back, and you're going back to talk to the group, to be with campus work, and to sort of give witness to everything that you've seen here so far, what do you think in terms of, is it going to be easy or hard to kind of convey to people what you've experienced so far here at the March?
You know, I think at the school we do have a great community and stuff, so I think it'd be a little bit easier, but getting outside of that, I know that it will be difficult, but it's definitely something that needs to be said and needs to be taught, so it'll be really important.
Well, people are always wondering how hard is it, how easy is it, what happens on a college campus when you hit difficult issues like this. It's hard enough for adults who are at work, and we've got friends and neighbors and family, but sort of the campus life is sort of the, I don't know, the icon of how hard it is to speak about difficult issues. How do you find it in terms of standing up for life as a college student?
It definitely hits close to home because I have known many of women that have struggled with abortion, but it's something that needs to be addressed, and we're working through it as a community. So.
Oh, that's beautiful. And I thank you so much for your witness, and hopefully when you come back, you'll come back with a whole nother group of people to talk about this this issue, not only there, but also to bring them with you. So here you go, 2 more college students here giving witness here and taking it back to Minnesota for another 24-hour drive back. Teresa, you got somebody you're speaking with as well.
Well, this is a very different interview. I was looking around for unique people to talk with, and I look over and I see a crown. I thought that must be some sort of a beauty pageant winner, and I was correct. This is Miss Delaware.
Yes, that is correct.
Yes, Marie Cahill, right? And when did you win your crown?
I won Miss Delaware in June, and I actually just got back 4 days ago from the Miss America pageant where I won the non-finalist talent award.
Well, congratulations.
So, thank you so much. I'm back kind of trying to get myself back in order and getting ready to do Miss Delaware things for another 6 months.
Now, what is it like for you to be at the kind of platform level that you have and talk about the pro-life movement? How is that received in the beauty pageant world?
Right, well, one of the best things about being a beauty queen, or in my case a Miss Delaware, is that you have a whole year to talk about things that you're passionate about. Obviously, people have very different opinions about whether I should be speaking about the pro-life movement or not. However, this is something that I've been so passionate about even before I had a crown on my head. So it doesn't matter if I'm a Miss Delaware, if I'm just Maria Cahill, you know, walking the streets. My message is still the same, and that's that life is beautiful and that life begins at conception. And it doesn't matter that I have a crown on my head, that I'm talking about it. I've done it before my crown, and I will continue to do it after my crown.
How did you get so interested in the pro-life movement?
Well, it started actually with my high school today, Aquinas Academy, and it really started with them. I started going to the March for Life every year with this group, and they've been so into life from the moment of conception and just the beauty of it and the sanctity of it. And so ever since I started doing the March for Life, I really just found a passion for it. I love speaking about it because it's something that I'm so passionate about. You know, I'm one of 7 kids, so I don't really have a choice any other way. But ever since doing the March for Life with them, it's just really opened a lot of doors for me and opened my eyes in a lot of ways.
Now, once you turn your title over to the next winner, what do you plan to do in terms of your platform? Keep speaking about the life issues?
Absolutely, and I've actually had a couple opportunities. I've met with the founder of 40 Days for Life, and so I really want to continue this. And I didn't go into this planning to speak about this every minute I got, but all these opportunities have opened up for me to speak about it. And since it's something that I love so much, after I give it my crown, I most certainly want to continue talking about it.
God bless you. I was going to say, I would want to borrow it for 1 second just to see what it would feel like to be a beauty queen. No, that's okay. I'm just kidding.
I mean, if you want to be Miss Delaware,
no, you want it. I just always thought it'd be kind of fun to say that I actually won a beauty pageant.
I mean,
but anyway,
once it's up there, it takes a while to get down. I'm telling you.
Well, you keep doing what you're doing because you're such a, and for the young women out there, because when I was growing up, we didn't have role models like you. So, so God bless you. Keep it up, and you're beautiful inside and out, and you're doing a great thing.
Thank you so much.
And I'll talk to you on the radio. You're going to come on my radio show.
Please have
All
me.
right, thanks. God bless you. Very unique, isn't it, Doug? And she has a very different platform than most people, and she's using it wisely to tell a very strong pro-life message. Back to you.
Great, Teresa. That is really terrific. It's always good, I think, for people to also see people who are successful, have a lot going on, right, Father, in their life, and it's not just like they like to paint it as if it's the poor souls, the people who don't know what they get caught up in religion, they get caught up in these causes. It's not the case at all. And you had noted, I think, on some of the wonderful banners and groups that we've seen, we wanted to mention, right? You want to
we just saw Purdue University pass by, Holy Sepulchre from Jupiter, Florida, Mercer County Right to Life, Lewis County, New York, Choose Life, Diocese of Salina, Kansas we saw, Archdiocese of Hartford, Connecticut, Virginians for Life, Belmont Abbey College, Lutherans for Life. So we saw all of those banners.
Right, I see Topeka, Kansas on there, so you can see, I mean, across the breadth and length of the land, really, we have people. And before we go out to Damon, who's got an interview, we're going to just cut over quick to the Pintos to get a little update.
Well, it was so wonderful to see that beautiful young girl, Miss Delaware, share her story. You know, it's so opposite of what came out from the White House today about the president sharing about how our sons and daughters need to fulfill their dreams. And this young girl is living her life for the other. To be pro-choice is selfless, loveless, and faithless. And here, this young girl comes out and she's full of love and she's full of hope and she's full of life and she's doing something for the other. And that's what being pro-life is all about. And we got to see that beautiful young girl just in there with a mass of humanity that's out there, young and on fire for the pro-life message.
More young people are pro-life than in past years. In the 70s, 80s, and 90s, surveys were done, and ages 18 through 29 were more pro-choice. Since 2000, it grows and grows and grows. Those people are pro-life. So this movement is younger than ever and growing. Pro-life people are having children and rearing them in that truth. Back to you, Doug.
That's great. Thank you, guys. And one thing I wanted to mention just before we went out to Damon was, I think you noticed, Father, one of the guys on the crew did, while we were doing that interview with Teresa, we saw a woman on her crutches in the march.
That she's making that sacrifice, that's a long way to go on a pair of crutches. But she's witnessing not only to the value of the human person, even in the suffering that she is going through, but that it's worth it for her to be there as well.
Right, and of course, having a special needs child, you learn about how much you see the truth of God in those children and people who are out there who are suffering in many ways, whether they be adults at the end of their lives or children throughout their lives, and have these, you know, they talk about how many children with Down syndrome aren't allowed to be born anymore. They're just being eliminated. And anybody who's ever met a child with Down syndrome meets some of the sweetest, nicest people you'll ever meet in your life.
Something like 93% of Down syndrome unborn children are aborted. And that's a tragic thing. Jerome Lejeune, who actually discovered the extra chromosome, he was hoping to bring a cure. He was horrified to see that this was now being used in this way.
Right, exactly. It's just, that's why we always have to be on guard, because the devil can always take good and make it evil. We get to take ourselves back out to Damon, who's in the midst of everything, with some people from Queens, New York, an general area I used to call home.
Represented here, the 2012 March for Life. We're at St. Sebastian Church here in Woodside, New York. You guys happy? Took one of those excited groups here. Now you're one of the leaders, or with the group here?
We're all leaders here today. We all have
we're all leaders.
We're all leaders. My friend David Rosasco.
David Rosasco. And how big is your group that you brought down? Or?
I believe we're at 44 people total.
Good. And when did you guys get down here?
We got down here at about 11:30. I guess it was 11:30. We took the bus from about 7 a.m. So it was about 4.5 hour ride, but very smooth. The bus drive was great. The snacks were excellent. And the mission is even more important than all that.
Outstanding. Now, David, is this your first march? Have you been here before?
No, this is my third march, and it gets more important every time because the opposition is very strong. But we here at St. Sebastian's are going to prove right now that we're not giving up. If we're outnumbered 10-1, we'll take those odds. People go to Atlantic City and win on those odds. We'll take those odds and we'll win with them.
Amen. Love that. Love that. And what is your name?
Christina Bavetti.
Christina. And are you a student? What do you do? And why are you here?
I'm here to protect abortion. And babies!
We understand. We know why you're here. You're standing there. And anybody want to say hello to you back in Queens?
My mom, my dad, and my two brothers. Woo! Everyone!
Monsignor Hardeman. What is your name?
My name is Hilda.
Hilda. And is this your first march, Hilda?
3 times already.
Your third march. I see you're holding the banner literally for St. Sebastian here.
Of course, we're here to fight for life!
Look at that. Now, you guys didn't feel like you had to turn around and go back home because it was cold, it was rainy, nothing like that?
Rain or shine, we will fight!
Love that. How about that? You're seeing that as you're seeing the tens, hundreds of thousands of people walk through. Here's one group in Queens. If you're watching here from New York, just know that Queens is representing here at St. Sebastian Church. Teresa, who do you got going on?
Okay. We're up with Steubenville at Franciscan University, the Franciscan Students for Life, and we were just talking back and forth before you came to us, Doug and Damon, because I guess the banner for Steubenville is not too far behind. So as we're doing this interview, maybe they'll be walking by us. Give us your names.
My name is Victor Bermudez, and I'm the president of Students for Life at Franciscan.
And you are?
Jessica Fody, and I'm the vice president of Students for Life.
Now, I mean, that's obviously a very Catholic college, so it's no surprise that you're pro-life, but what do you find that is the common theme among what these young people, where does their fire come from for being so strongly Catholic and knowing so much about this issue at your young age?
You know what? I think a huge thing at Franciscan, right, they're so strongly pro-life, so strongly Catholic, is that the school is, I don't think they could be any more supportive than they are of, our pro-life ministries we do, or of any of the, chastity talks, anything. They're just so supportive. If we need something, they'll get it to us. And so we really use all of our resources, and we really force them to, really live out their faith. And there's no such thing as, them not having enough time, because we'll do it at another event, and we'll do another event. And we really have every student at Franciscan really live out their faith because we give them the opportunity to.
In terms of the young women that you work with at the college level, what are they really concerned about the future when they graduate from college?
Right. Well, I think like you had mentioned, the common theme is being open to God's love. Like everyone really wants to utilize the gifts that they have. And that's where a lot of the motivation comes in our group. And so as far as the women on our campus are concerned, I know they want to implement that in whatever way possible. And so we have people who are using their gifts to advertise for the pro-life movement. We have women on campus who are using their gifts to counsel other women. And so it's really interesting to see the different dynamics in our group and how much people are willing to give and spread God's love. So
now, I know you have a lot of great conferences at Steubenville. How many of those have you been to, and what does that mean to you to be able to have that right there and hear so many great speakers coming into your own backyard? You have an opportunity that a lot of young people don't have to hear so much about the pro-life movement and about the Catholic faith.
Absolutely. We have an opportunity to hear so many great speakers all the time, and we have an opportunity to just learn so much about all kinds of issues and about our faith. And I think that the main thing that they're so adamant about making this happen is because they really give us opportunities also to outreach to community around us. People are going to feed the homeless every Tuesdays and Thursdays at Franciscan. People are praying at the abortion clinics every Saturday. Over 100 students are out there every Saturday morning, waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning to make the Mass at 6 a.m. And so, yeah, we have so so many inspirational speakers and so much support, but they really expect us to, use that out there.
To apply it. Don't
to apply
just
it.
Take it for granted.
Absolutely.
We got to run, guys. Thanks. God bless you. We'll see you back in the Midwest. Take care. Keep up the great work at Steubenville. Back to you, Doug.
Thank you so much, Teresa. There we heard a little bit from Queens, and then also from, of course, Franciscan University of Steubenville. We feature programming from them, of course, their basic show that we've carried for years. That started out as Franciscan University Focus, and now we have the program that Scott Hahn has been on for a number of years. And speaking of Scott Hahn, I think we had heard that he had some medical issues, and so I think he's recovering, doing fine, but people may want to keep him in their prayers. Right?
Keep him in their prayers, because he's doing fine. He's recovering well. So
great.
Right.
Now, as we can see, and let's see the whole march in living color, big screen, so we can see. There's Franciscan University as we speak. There's their logo right in the midst of the crowd. Now, Father, you've got better eyes than I. Why don't you mention some of the ones you've been picking out of the crowd?
Yes, we picked out Benedictine College, the Catholic Diocese of Green Bay, Wisconsin. That's a long way away. Hayden High School in Topeka, Kansas. Notre Dame. Byzantines for Life. St. Joseph's Seminary in New York. And Pope Paul VI Catholic High School.
Okay, great. And that's just obviously a small sampling of all the different groups and people here. That big banner says every life counts. And of course, the march is because people go and support this work. Likewise for EWTN, it's only through the support of our donors that we're able to even bring an event like this to people. And we wanted to have some more interactivity through Facebook and Twitter. And now we're going to ask Michelle Johnson, who's over in our EWTN Pro-Life social media center, maybe to mention a couple of emails we may have gotten.
We're getting some wonderful emails, Doug. One is from Benedictine College, which Father mentioned just a moment ago. They said they brought 225 students on 4 buses traveling 33 hours in ice and snow to come to the march. Our president, Steve Minnis, and many of our chaplains are also with them. We are so proud of them and their witness, and that's from Sarah. Thank you, Sarah. We also wanted to give a shout out to St. Peter's College. It's a Jesuit college in New Jersey. They are also there. We also got an email from Qatar, if I'm saying it correctly. This is Winnie Gonzalez from the parish of Our Lady of the Rosary Church in Qatar. She says that shares its neighborhood with Saudi Arabia and Dubai. She watches nothing but EWTN whenever she's home from work, and she just wants to assure everyone that she is keeping us in prayer. And finally, we have tons of emails from Great Britain. People were very impressed with Joanna Bogle's remarks, some of them saying that they hope that it inspires the rest of their countrymen to do a March for Life in England. Megan from Derbyshire, England says, "What would we do without EWTN?" Britain is oblivious to this huge event taking place in Washington because here too there is a total blackout by the media. God bless Mother Angelica. Thank you, EWTN, for all of your programs and coverage. Back to you, Doug.
Very good. Thank you so much, Michelle. And it's great for us to hear those comments being sent to us. And we look like we might even be getting near the end of the march, passing our particular camera position. Obviously, it goes way up, all the way past the Capitol to the Supreme Court building, but we can only get so far up with our equipment due to security. But we want to take you out to Damon Owens with a youth group from Stratford, Connecticut. Damon.
So when you think aqua blue scarves, you must think Connecticut, specifically Stratford and Stamford, Connecticut. I'm here with the youth group here. And where are you from?
I'm from Stratford, Connecticut.
Oh, I got that part. What was the youth group, the school?
St. James Parish.
St. James Parish. And what is your name?
My name is Alicia Excellent.
Alicia. And how big is your group? And tell me a little bit about how you guys got here.
Well, my group is we have over 30 people, I think. And we're all marching around. And we got here because we went on a tour bus. We left our church at 11 p.m. and we were driving for 7 hours. We got here 6 in the morning.
That's a long drive from Connecticut.
It is. It's horrible. My back still hurts.
But now, is this your first march? Have you been here before?
No, this is my first march, but all my friends, they've been here last year.
And what do you think so far after seeing it for the first time yourself?
It's amazing. I love it. I love seeing everybody, and they all have a cause they want to stand up for. And they all think the same thing, and we all share similar values.
That's great. Now, what is your name?
Brianna.
Brenna?
Brianna.
Brianna. And whose idea was it for the blue scarves? I got to find that one out. Anybody know?
That's Father Bruce's idea.
Father Bruce, and that was to get lost or our unity with the group, or tell a bit about that.
That's kind of to stay together and to find us if we're lost. So the group is all from Connecticut, so everybody has to wear a blue scarf.
Well, I love it. Our producer saw the blue scarves and he said, "Get that group right there, get them." What is your name?
D.
Okay, we got a screamer group here. That's all this is happening. And D, is this your first march?
No, I went last year.
You did. Okay, and you came back.
Yeah, definitely. This march is inspiring.
Tell a bit about what you saw last year, what you're seeing now, and not just why you came back, but what do you think you'll take back from this march this year?
They're just the fact that it brings so many more people every single time. This march gets bigger and bigger every single year, and to see that and to see every speech, every letter that anyone writes or speaks about this march is so amazing. You can't explain it.
And it's hard when you go back and try to explain it, right?
Yeah.
Another thing too, I mentioned you go back and you try to find something on the news. They say if this many people get together, you'd think it would be on the news, wouldn't you?
Yeah, you would think so.
Now you got to turn to EWTN to see the full coverage of this whole thing, right?
Oh yeah.
Outstanding. So you guys are marching through. You headed back tonight. Got any kind of events or anything else planned afterwards? Any kind of projects with the youth group? Anything you want to share with anyone?
I would just encourage people to come here. I would encourage our youth group, if they're watching, to constantly just remind themselves that being pro-life is a really good option, but it's your choice whether or not, and just to help little babies.
Beautiful. Last question. What do you think someone who has never been to the march before, who's maybe watched this on EWTN for a number of years and thinks, I'm not sure what kind of environment this is? Are people angry? Is it a mad march? How would you describe the mood of being part of the March for Life?
Fun. Insanely fun. We have the youth rally where it's basically we have mass, but there's music, and it's rock and roll. There's all types of singing. We sing, we dance. It's so much fun. It's you're not going to get excluded for anything. If you just join in, you'll always have fun no matter what.
There you have it. This is nothing but fun. So it's a memorial for what we have, and we also got a chance to celebrate among other people who believe in the respect for human life. And now we'll go to Teresa, see what Teresa's got going on. What do you got, Teresa?
We are with some seminarians from the Pontifical College in Columbus. Thanks, Damon. And you know, we're talking a lot today about the young people, and of course young people in the lay movement and the pro-life movement, but we also need the future church to be led by strong priests and bishops, and I think we have a few of them right here. What's your name, and tell us about your studies?
I'm Austin Lemons. I'm from the Diocese of Columbus. I'm studying at the Pontifical College Josephinum, and I'm in first college studying philosophy.
Tell us a little bit about your passion for the pro-life movement and why you came down and wore these very nice ponchos. Very good look for you guys. I like it.
Yes. Well, you know, we're Catholics, and so like we believe at the moment of conception that it's a real person, you know, and when you kill that baby, it's murder, and everybody should be against murder. So that's our big reason why we're here.
In terms of, let me talk to a couple of you guys here. In terms of your hopes when you, God willing, do get ordained as priests and maybe move even forward in the religious life, do you think that we need to hear this more from the pulpit? Because that's often what we hear from people, is that they don't hear it enough from the pulpit.
I think so. I mean, a lot of people, the bulk of their formation and their education on these issues is going to come on Sundays at Mass. And if the priests are scared to say things that might bother people, then that conveys a message that it's not something worth taking a stand for. And so you have to have the courage to preach the gospel, regardless of how people might react.
And what's your name? Your mom and dad would not be happy if I didn't ask you your name.
I'm AJ Enfield from the Diocese of Phoenix, Arizona.
God bless you. And what's your name?
I am Pushkar Baum from the Josephinum, Columbus. And I am a diocesan, I am a part of the Columbus Diocese. This is my first year, so.
And what do you think?
I'm loving it so far. It's a great day. The rain, I think, could have done without, but actually turned out to be a pretty nice day.
Let me just ask you a question. You know, we have so many things that are coming out of Washington in terms of different pieces of legislation, different statements from various politicians and the administration. Does it concern you, because you and men in religious life, as our priests and as our bishops, I mean, the line's being drawn in the sand. I mean, it takes a lot of courage. How do you see yourself in the next, 5, 10, 15 years standing up for life?
Well, it all starts at the pulpit. As AJ said, if you got to be able to teach it in the Sunday, and even weekdays, that abortion is murder, and it's not happening in our politics system right now. And so that's one of the main issues that we really have to work on.
And one more, this young man over here, I don't want to leave you out. What's your name?
Joe Chivleski from Columbus.
And Joe, is this your first time to the march? You've been here before?
Yes, this is my first time.
And what do you think? It's amazing, isn't it?
It is amazing, yeah. Despite the weather, it's amazing how many people have come out to support the pro-life movement.
You guys are
with the weather, how
well, every year it gets even bigger, and I think it's bigger than last year. Well, God bless you guys. We're going to pray for you, pray for us, and remain strong. We need you. Okay.
God bless you.
And thanks, Doug. Back to you. And I think it's just a great witness to have these young men who are discerning the priesthood and are studying to really make a difference in the church. And we have so many great young pro-life people here. We heard from Lila Rose, and of course she is a member, very strong member of the laity in the pro-life movement. And this is the future of our church right here. Thanks, guys. God bless you. Appreciate it. Back to you.
Thanks, Teresa. That's terrific. It's great to get a little taste of all the different kinds of people there, right, Father? To get the young people, to get the people who are the man on the street just marching from the parishes. It's great also, especially I can tell for lay people, to see our priests there.
Yes, to see the priests and to see the young people gives us hope for the future. Father Shannon mentioned something this morning about the joy, and that's something that you see, just the good, clean fun. Of course, it's a serious cause, but at the same time, there's a beauty, there's a goodness that comes out of us when we're striving to stand for what is good and what is true and right.
Right. Now we're coming up near the end of the march. I know there was a couple other groups you had noted you wanted to mention.
We saw St. Michael's World Apostolate, the Catholic Student Union from Florida State, Glen Carbon, Illinois, and Divine Child High School in Dearborn, Michigan. It was also encouraging to see the pilgrim statue of Our Lady of Fatima.
Right, Our Lady of Fatima, the Virgin there. Wonderful. And just to mention to everybody too, especially for those people who maybe saw their friends on there, would like to see it again, or for the people who are actually marching, you can tell them that we will be re-airing the 39th annual March for Life from Washington, D.C. coverage, a complete encore tonight, and that's beginning at 11 p.m. Eastern 8 p.m. on the Pacific Coast. That's 11 tonight. And also, for a lot of people who may be out there marching who won't get home right away but might like to see it, we're encoring the entire coverage as well on Saturday. That's this Saturday, January the 28th at 2 p.m. Eastern, and it's 11 a.m. on the West Coast. So you have a chance to watch it again tonight if you missed it, or on Saturday, and hopefully it'll give an opportunity for many of those who actually went and participated to get a chance to see the march from an even different perspective, I guess.
Yeah, in some ways, just like when you watch a football game, you can see more than you can see when you're actually there.
Right.
But there's a certain enjoyment in being in the actual event at the same time, too.
Right, and then stepping back and really taking in some of the other parts. Because when you're in such a large crowd like that, you really can't see or hear everything.
Right, and encompass the whole
It's a different perspective.
situation.
But let's go now to our dynamic duo on the ground there who've experienced it all for, I guess at this point, some closing comments and thoughts. Teresa and Damien.
Thanks, Doug. And I can't believe we're at the end of the march already. Where's everybody going? Tell them to come back. I want to do it all over again.
One of the fastest ever, I think. One of the fastest events ever, but I think one of the bigger.
Yeah,
I don't know the numbers, but going by feel.
Me too, because I was telling Doug when I did my first live report when we started walking that it took me 10 minutes to get through the crowd from the mall in 7th up to Constitution Avenue. So I do think it's bigger, and we did run up to Nelly. We caught up with her, and she said, yes, definitely, didn't have a figure yet. But what was your sense in terms of what people were telling you?
Well, it meant a lot more that we're able to get on camera as well, and I saw a lot of young people, which we see every year, but there was a certain sense, I think, with the young people that, you know, not only did the weather not matter, not that it was that bad, but it was cold, it was a little rainy, but there was a hopefulness, there was a real sense, and it was a joy to be with them as well. Yeah.
Well, it's great to work with you, and I'm so glad I got to meet your daughters, and you got to meet my husband Dominic, and I wanted to say hi to my mom Rosie, who's watching back home. So,
hi, Rosie.
Hi, Ma, love you. I'll be home
Melanie,
soon.
And the rest of the,
gang.
Yes.
All right, good to work with you again.
Always a treasure.
Back to you guys in the studio. Thanks. We love it. Have us back next year.
And we love you. Thank you so much. I don't know that we could get, Father, a better team to do a better job on the ground, I think, making us all proud here at EWTN. Do you?
They are terrific, and it's good to have Teresa on the radio end and Damon producing different series for EWTN. So we're good to have them.
It's great. Yeah. It's all part of the EWTN family that extends outside of those of us who work together here at EWTN, but all the people who support the work of EWTN. And of course, we just like to talk about EWTN everywhere, all the different ways we're trying to get our signal out there, the message of the church, basically the splendor of truth, which is what we're really looking to promote. And we're going to be wrapping up in a minute or two. I'm going to get back to you on your thoughts and a closing prayer, but let's go with our entire team. We have Damon, and we've had Teresa in Washington, and here in our studio we've had the rest of our team, Jim and Joy Pinto, and also Michelle Johnson. First, we're going to go to Jim and Joy, I guess, at this point, and give us some final thoughts on this year's, the 39th annual March for Life. Some thoughts on it.
Well, Doug, it's been so wonderful to see everybody out there. But now, in wrapping it up, you know, the pro-life movement appears on many fronts. And so we've had 53 million abortions since 1973. And obviously, we have injured women out there, and they need their souls and their lives restored from their abortions. And so there's wonderful ministries out there that they need to get involved with, and that's Rachel's Vineyard, that's Project Rachel. Also, we saw from women out there who said they chose to be silent no more, and that's another campaign that you can get involved with. Also, in February, we'll have 40 Days for Life that's happening all over the country and the world for ways we can say it's not just about a march once a year. Now I need to take my activism. I need to take this passion. I need to take it to the streets where I locally live to make a difference. And that may mean you get involved with 40 Days for Life in a prayer and fasting campaign, or you may contact a pregnancy resource center in your town, in your city, and say, I want to be a volunteer. And so, yes, we've had this beautiful movement. We saw everybody out there, but now we all are going to go home. And that doesn't mean our passion and our fight ends. So I just encourage everybody who said, this touched my heart, I too need to respond.
Today was a tremendous day of encouragement. We see the people of God being what they're called to be, a people of love, a people of life, a people of community, the voice of the voiceless, the face of the faithless. The Lord says, when I return to the earth, will there be faith on the earth? And today, if he would have come today, there would have been faith on this earth. This movement is spreading. It is growing. It is younger than ever. It is mobilized. It is more strategic than ever before. So wherever you are, maybe you are a part of the 250,000, maybe you're alone trying to plead with somebody in your own family regarding the sanctity of human life. You are a missionary of the gospel of life right where you are. And you are sent by God to evangelize this world. Back to you, Doug.
Thank you very much, and we appreciate the input of Jim and Joy Pinto, hosts of EWTN's radio program every Monday afternoon at home with Jim and Joy. You also see them on some spots they do for Marriage in God's Plan. As we move along, the next participant in our coverage from our studio here with something new we did this year, Michelle Johnson in our Social Media for Life Center. Some closing thoughts, Michelle.
Well, I am reading the Facebook testimonies of so many people who have taken the time to share their heartbreak. So many of them unwed, unplanned baby, no job, living in my sister's basement. I prayed to God, what should I do? Should I have an abortion? In my heart, the answer was plain and simple, and I heard our Father say, no, that is my child. 22 years later, I am glad I listened to the Lord. I have a great son. I urge all of you to go to our social media sites and share stories like this with your friends and your neighbors. Get it out on the internet. They will not see this on your secular media stations. They will not see it in most secular newspapers. You know the truth. You've seen it. Please don't let it end here. Go on our Facebook page, our Twitter page, and get out the word of what you saw here today. And we thank you so much for doing that. God bless you all.
That's great. Thank you so much, Michelle. And hopefully, it worked very well for us, I think, Father, and I hope it provided a service for those of our viewers, for people maybe who are even new to EWTN to find out about how they can find out more information about us, to interact with EWTN through the whole new technology, in a sense, of Facebook. And of course, we're on Facebook, we're on Twitter. We have live streaming on the web, and I'm saying this as well to the people who may not be as familiar with EWTN. Maybe you just check into EWTN because you're a pro-lifer, and otherwise you don't really know that much about it. And we want to make sure, if you want to find out more about EWTN, just go to our website, www.ewtn.com. You can find out about all of our pro-life programming by going to our pro-life link. You can find out about all of the other resources we offer, all the channels that we produce, our radio network. You can listen to it, find out about whether there's a radio affiliate in your particular city or town. There is an affiliate now, actually, for EWTN through Guadalupe Radio in Washington, D.C. That's growing as well. There's well over 200 Catholic radio stations now. So there's a lot of media out there. There's websites you can support. Of course, there's the register I mentioned, as well as EWTN's website. And again, just the whole idea of EWTN is everywhere, mobile devices. And we're not talking about this because we're looking just to promote what we're doing. It's because it's a way for you to get in touch with the truth of the church.
And we know that it's made a difference. For example, in Texas, there were 2 women who left the abortion industry because one of them started listening to Catholic radio. She began to question her own self and what she was doing in the abortion industry. She talked to one of her coworkers about it. Both of them now have left that industry. So we know it is having an impact.
Right. Well, just before we go, as we start things with a prayer, how about ending things with a prayer?
Sure. Well, we know that what is at issue here are the women who are carrying those unborn children. And so let's pray especially for them, those who are now carrying unborn children, who may be contemplating abortion, or those who may conceive in the future and contemplate abortion. Heavenly Father, we worship you. You love the thought of each one of us and wanted us to exist. And so you knit us together in our mother's wombs. Share your love with those mothers who are considering aborting their unborn children. Dispel their fears, free them from pressuring boyfriends or parents, and give them joy in their motherhood. Spare them, Lord, from a life of regret, so that they may enjoy the satisfaction of a motherhood lived in love. We ask this through Christ our Lord. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Thank you so much, Father Joseph, our chaplain here at EWTN, an important member of our team here, for joining me this year, and we have for the last several years, and for the Walk for Life West Coast, and for the Masses from the Basilica, and for our complete coverage here. Thank you so much.
Good to be with you again, Doug.
And just a reminder before we go that you can look for a replay of our coverage tonight, I believe at 11 p.m. Eastern, of our coverage of the entire march, and then also this coming Saturday, in case you're heading back or you know someone who is heading back from the 39th Annual March for Life. They can watch it at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m., and that's on the West Coast. And just a reminder, one more time, tonight at 11 o'clock. And I know as well, on the replay of the World Over tonight, I know Archbishop Dolan is also featured in a fine interview by Raymond Arroyo. And once again, we thank you so much for supporting EWTN and supporting life. I'm Doug Keck. Join us next time.